just wanted to give you a heads up as to who's going to be talking. Bill Nugent is the fire chief of Greencastle, and it's N-E-W-G-E-N-T.
Say it one more time, wait.
Bill Nugent, N-E-W-G-E-N-T, Greencastle Fire Department Chief. And Robert G. Bottoms, Dr. Robert G. Bottoms, B-O-T-T-O-M-S, DePaul University President, will be addressing you. We're just going to let them take your questions. I think the chief has some new information about the other two residence halls that are adjoining Rector that he'll share with you. So, gentlemen. Bill, you want to start?
Hi. Hi. Anything new?
Right now, the fire is about 90% out. About 30 minutes ago, we have a lot of interior. We still have a lot of interior crews inside trying to put out hot spots. Mainly, the fire was contained to the roof area of the building, but we do have extensive water damage throughout that building. The other two buildings, Mason and Lucy Rowland, sustained water damage to the basement, but I believe that we're going to be able to get people back into those two buildings as long as the power comes up right, and we get all the fire suppression and fire alarm systems back in service before we let everybody in.
When was the power turned off?
The power was turned off directly right after we arrived on the scene, when PSI arrived on the scene, or Synergy.
There's no fire damage off the roofs of either.
No, the buildings are actually separated. One is separated by a corridor, and actually the other one is separated by just a grass path. The primary responsibility and primary focus on this fire was to make sure that we didn't have any extension to those other two buildings.
It looks like there was fire damage in the fourth floor, down from the roof. Could you describe that in a little more detail?
The fourth floor rooms did sustain some fire damage. The ceilings pretty much come down in all the rooms in the fourth floor, and there is some fire damage in that area. Mostly throughout the building is mostly water damage also.
Did you have any floors buckle or collapse just from water below the fourth floor?
No, we did not have any floors that. There's a lot of water on those floors, and units right now are trying to get the water off those floors today to do. The only collapse we had was a ceiling collapse on the fourth floor, which was the ceiling of the fourth floor coming down onto the actual floor of the fourth floor.
Chief, there are about 4 versions at least of how this started going around campus. Can you tell us what you know, what you know at this point, and what possibilities you have about it?
Right now, all that I know right now is that we have the fire started on the fourth floor. It appears it started on the fourth floor on the north side. In a room. At this point in time, the Indiana State Fire Marshal's office has just arrived on the scene, and he's going to be assisting us in the investigation. I do not have a cause or origin of the fire.
Did fire alarms go off in the building?
Yes, they did. And they are still going off right now.
DePaul has a history of false alarms. Do you know how many students didn't evacuate because they thought it was a false alarm?
I have no idea.
Do you know if they had to be encouraged or anything like that?
No, not that I'm aware of anybody had to be encouraged to get out of the building.
Dr. Martin, can you let us know at this point how many students are without a place to live, and what's happening with them tonight? Where are they staying?
We'll know a little more later this afternoon after we determine whether people can go back into the other two dorms. If it's just Rector, we're talking about 115 or so people, and sororities, fraternities from over campus, people in the neighborhood. We had some vacant. There's been a lot of cooperation, and so we're in the process later this afternoon to get people assigned.
And also, don't you rent this out during graduation, which is now in 5 weeks, that took parents to stay? What are you going to do about that?
Well, we've mostly, I don't mean to be flip, sort of worked on getting through this day and making sure everybody's okay, but obviously it will impact us, and for sure we won't have that dorm back in service, I think, in time for graduation. We have a meeting at 2 o'clock to decide. Some of that will depend on whether we're able to get students back into the 2 adjacent dormitories or not. If we have 300 students affected, that's one thing. If we have 115 students available, affected, that's another. But certainly, at the very least, we will make all the students affected, we'll make their names available to all the faculty members, and if we do have class tomorrow, which I imagine we will, if we do, it will be, I mean, people will be aware that, you know, schoolwork was lost, and it's not going to be a day as
To some extent, this is an unprecedented event, but what kind of a system do you have for, I mean, how do you handle that? There are students who lost computers and books and papers and research, and, you know, that they may not be able to recreate by the end of the semester. What's the process?
Well, we'll be working on that this afternoon, and to some degree it'll be left, I'm sure, to some of the individual professors and the way they work with their students. I mean, fortunately enough, we have small enough classes, the students know the people, the professors would have some idea of the levels of their work and so on. Right now we just want to catch our breath. We're just relieved no one was hurt.
Can you give us the status of the 2 firefighters that were treated at the hospital?
The status of the 2 firefighters, one was released and she's doing fine. The other one has been admitted just for observation for overnight. I've been told that he's doing fine, but they just want to watch him overnight.
Was it
How
smoke
are the-
inhalation?
We had a partial ceiling collapse on the 4th floor for a very short moment of time, and I believe that the one firefighter that has been admitted into the hospital was actually was hit in the head by something.
Was the other one a woman?
Yes.
This afternoon, the word was that there was an additional firefighter taken to the hospital. Is that true?
We've had a couple of firefighters come out this afternoon that have just been complaining of maybe small scrapes or bruises that, and just working with the overhaul operation. I have not received any more word about those. So.
Chief, if you would just characterize this, putting this fire out, how difficult was it?
The fire, it was difficult to put out. There's no doubt. It was all up in the attic, which is very difficult to even get to. With the assistance of the surrounding counties and the aerial apparatuses from the Hendricks County area and also Clay County area, we made a very, very good knockdown on this fire, and I'm very proud of all of it.
Was this attic a crawl space attic or a storage area? What kind of an attic was it?
I don't believe I can answer that question. Some of it was a flat type roof, and some of it was just basically open space that there was no storage.
Did you get up in there and walk in there, or
Some of it you can, some of it you can't.
can you give us a sense of what's going on now, what they're still doing?
Right now, firefighters are in the overhaul stages. What that means is that they are they're looking for hot spots of where the fire may be hidden at. We have a lot of roof that has came down in the middle, and they're trying to sift through that area to make sure that all the hot spots are out.
Are they having to still knock out walls and windows and things like that? Or?
They may have to walk out some walls, but mostly it's going to be working with the ceiling debris and working with the ceiling to try to access the rest of the attic area that we could not access.
Dr. Bottoms, a couple things real quick on your feelings regarding the way that people have pitched in to help these students who've been displaced.
Well, obviously we've not had anything like this happen before, but I think we're all sort of taken with the way students have gotten together. If you go into the Union Building, you can see clothes that have been given, because obviously a lot of people lost everything they had. There's been a similar, very positive response from the community, from the churches. We've literally been inundated with calls saying, we could have students stay at our house, or we can transport people to the store, that kind of thing. And I think there's been a great show of support.
Do you have anything close to a damage estimate, or what process do you go through to make that assessment?
Right now, I don't have anything as a damage estimate. You could probably get back with me a little bit later. I'm waiting. I haven't talked with the Indiana State Fire Marshal yet, and we will work very closely with him to come up with a cost estimate and a damage estimate. Right now, as we've been talking, Dr. Bottoms and I talked earlier that we're right at $1 million in damage.
And is it possible to rebuild that building, or what, the extent of the damage?
I believe so. It is. Yes.
3 more questions. We've got to get these guys back to work.
Dr. Bottoms, will the university insurance cover those damages and also those of the students who they lost?
I don't know the answer to that. That's one of the reasons we're meeting at 2 o'clock. As I said, we've kind of gone through, as all of you have, kind of emotional peaks and valleys during the day, and the first thing was to get the fire out and make sure everybody was safe. Now we're beginning to assess, okay, where do we go from here on really practical issues?
And Rector was slated to be renovated. What stage was it in before the fire?
Yeah, that's one of the ironies of this. The board meets week after next, and we have planned to talk to them about the preliminary sort of staging of how we could renovate the whole North Quad.
Have you been in the building yet? It's not
No,
your first.
no.
Do you plan to, or do you expect to?
Well, when
On
the chief says
Wednesday?
it's okay. I'm not in a hurry.
Some of the, on the first, second, and third floor where there are rooms, is some of that salvageable in terms of clothes and books and whatnot?
Did you say the first and second?
First, second, and third floor, yeah.
There's going to be water damage. There will be some smoke damage also, but some of it, yes, will be salvageable.
Thank you all. As you need information throughout the afternoon, please let me know. We'll try to get back with you. The president's going to go to his meeting upstairs. The chief's going to go back to work, but perhaps 4:30 or so, if you want to have another briefing, we can do it. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah,
You
it
still
might
have
really
needs.
work for the students, and that is because there are a lot of practical implications, like the one you asked. We're going to start sorting through some of that. It may be a little later this afternoon. We'll have word. I know Jim Rourke is starting work now on getting electricity and making sure the smoke alarms work in these two buildings so people can go. Once we get that question answered, we'll be able to go along the way. So, yeah, maybe we'll meet back here about, you said what time?
4:30?
Yeah, for the I mean, the news folks are welcome, but particularly for the students, because we're going to have a little trouble communicating with everybody, although we'll put things on email.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Rector was a co-ed I know, I've been stunned myself. I think it is.
Find out. Ask James.
We're 6 3.
Well, I like you.
Yeah, I got a few more questions. Yeah, but we'll talk to you later.
Let me get the co-ed question. Good to see you. Thank you.
Geez, you made some work of this. I told you, he did wonders with it. Very effective. That's what I was telling him. He did wonders with this thing, man.
Thank you.
I got the hook and jump right here.
R-O-W. Yeah, we'll be around.
Thank you for the use of your stand.
Wrap that up and reuse that tape.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This does wonders. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Andy? A lot easier than trying to.